Hey everyone, welcome back to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your hosty Café con Leche for the next hour, encouraging you to get social with us online. That is, tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BroxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BroxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, you can follow me on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, a time we shed light on issues affecting relationships, which has heightened during the COVID-19 pandemic. And well, there seems to be an increase of domestic violence due to quarantine. And our next guest is part of the Urban Resource Institute, which provides resources to domestic violence victims. She's here to tell us more. Please welcome Senior Vice President of Domestic Violence, Residential and Legal Programs, Jennifer White-Reid. Hello, Jennifer. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for your service. I'm so excited to learn more about Urban Resource Institute. I myself am a domestic violence survivor. I am very aware of the different levels of domestic violence. And so if you would be so kind as to just share with everyone the different types of individuals or the different types of circumstances in which you are assisting in programming.
Absolutely. So again, thank you for having me. And in the midst of October, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, it's an opportunity to raise awareness and to let people know that our doors are open, particularly during this time during a pandemic. But URI, we are a nonprofit organization based in New York City. We offer services to domestic violence victims and homeless families with a focus on communities of color. And we are the largest provider of domestic violence shelter services in the country, with the ability to serve up to 1,200 individuals. That includes adults and children every given night. And within our programs, we offer a wide array of programming, including case management, crisis counseling, advocacy and support. We do groups, we do individual sessions, we have legal services, we have economic empowerment programs, children's services, and one of our innovative projects is our People and Animals Living Safely, our PALS program.
Which I think is so awesome. That is so awesome.
Thank you. And for people who don't know, if you're a family impacted by domestic violence and you have a pet, most shelters won't accept the family with the pet. And so we recognized that this was a barrier to accessing shelter. And so our PALS program accommodates the entire family, including the pet.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And it definitely makes a difference because, again, I opened up with acknowledging the fact that it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, that I'm a domestic violence survivor. And the reason I even brought that up is because I think it's important that people understand the different levels of domestic violence. And while you offer all these programs, I wonder if some people even realize that they're in a domestic violent relationship, because allowing it to lead up to the physical act of domestic violence is actually something that could be prevented if you're even aware. I personally come from not even realizing that I was in a domestic violent relationship based on emotional abuse and psychological abuse. And there's also the financial abuse, which I know you wanted to discuss and elaborate further, because this is the time where obviously we're all in some sort dealing with some kind of financial abuse, and to deal with it on an intimate level, I'm sure is mentally challenging.
Absolutely. Domestic violence is a pattern of behavior in an intimate relationship where one partner exerts power and control over another partner. And that's done by a variety of tactics. And that could include physical violence, which is probably what everybody sees as domestic violence. But it also includes psychological abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse. Being, name calling every day really impacts your self-esteem. And then economic abuse is something that I think a lot of survivors do not realize that they're experiencing. According to the data, 98% of victims of domestic violence experience economic abuse. And that could be your perpetrator impacted your credit report, so now your score is low. It could be that your perpetrator prevented you from working, so now you have no financial resources. It could be that you're actually working, but your abusive partner takes your money when you come home at the end of the week with your paycheck. And so those are some of the tactics that are used, but also sexual violence, which is not talked about a lot, but that is a form of domestic violence. And also, as I mentioned earlier, our PALS program highlights that even when you're in a home with a pet, an abuser may try to threaten and manipulate your feelings by hurting your animal. And we saw a significant number of clients who needed our shelter spaces because they were in those kinds of situations.
I'm just in awe over that program. I'm in awe over the fact that you've been able to find a way to incorporate the a person's pet into being sheltered as well. And also, one of the other programs that really stood out for me is the self-development and the internship that you offer, which is about empowering, right? Because after being battered down, not necessarily physically, even mentally, to that place of self-doubt and lack of independence, you rebuild. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Our economic empowerment services are so critical. You know, after experiencing abuse, you may find yourself unemployed with limited resources, limited access to education. And so what we do in our Economic Empowerment Center is we do a career exploration to assess, what do you want to do? Some people are not even given the freedom to think about what they want to do with their lives. And so we do that at the very beginning. But we also offer internship opportunities within our organization, but also within the community so that individuals can develop skills. And then we match people with employment, because that is the most important thing, is to be able to have access to financial resources so that you can be independent, rebuild your life, and be back on your journey back in the community working.
So what does it take for someone to start the process to become part of the URI programming?
So if you are in a situation where you need to flee and you want to come into shelter, you can access our shelters through the New York City Domestic Violence Hotline, which is 1-800-621-HOPE, HOPE. But you can also go to our website, urinyc.org, and learn about our services. We have contact information on our website that you can be referred to.
And you guys have been doing this for 40 years now. I understand you have a big gala about to occur virtually, of course, because we're all practicing safe distancing. But congratulations on your 40th anniversary.
Thank you for raising that, because I feel the privilege of being part of an organization that has been working in the trenches in the community for the last 40 years. And so on October 22nd at 6 o'clock, we are hosting a virtual gala, and we are excited to have your viewers register to attend, to learn about our work, to see some of our clients share their stories, and also for us to highlight the importance of our frontline workers who, in the midst of COVID-19, were in the trenches, came to work every single day. And we wanted to invest a lot of time during the gala acknowledging their bravery and their support and their courage.
That's lovely. And you know, before we go, I know we were discussing this prior to getting on air. Just really quickly, with everything that's occurring, and to anyone who feels abused, just in what we're all enduring, what would you say to them?
So if you're out there and you're feeling like you're not safe, there's a couple of things that you can do, particularly during this time where the message is to stay at home in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. You want to establish a code word, right? Because your perpetrator may be in the same room with you. And if you want to relay to your family members or friends that you're in an emergency situation and they may need to call 911 for you, establish a code word. Also, if you can, identify a small package of resources, phone numbers, keys, a little bit of cash, and put it in a bag in a safe place. So if you need to flee, you have your resources that you can access, that you can take with you. But most importantly, check in with your family members and friends so they know how you're doing, if you're able to do so.
Beautiful. Well done. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us. Jennifer White-Reid, Senior Vice President, Domestic Violence Residential and Legal Programming at Urban Resource Institute. And you guys, once again, if you or someone you know is in need of help, you can have them call the New York City Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-621-HOPE. And the number for texting is 1-844-997-2121. And for more Urban Resource Institute information, go to urinyc.org. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about a new book that will help millennials with adulting. Don't go anywhere.